What's up nerfers, and welcome back to my channel, where this week I received a parcel from Singapore. Inside are 1200 of Sabre's brand new red coloured tournament darts weighing 1.3 grams each. In my last couple of videos I tested the standard purpley blue coloured 1 gram standard versions because they were ready from the factory first and I received them first. And those were by far the most accurate darts I've ever used, shooting an A5 paper size spread from 30 meters or 100 feet and still hitting a human sized target all the way out double that range at 60 meters or 200 feet. They also had some impressive range to them, reaching out to an average of 88 meters. But will the 1 gram standard T-Dart still be the best Nerf dart in the hobby by the end of this video? That's what I'm here to find out. Now for the blaster I'll be using today, no surprises at all here. I'm using the Sabre Apex Prime full metal CNC blaster. It has a 16 kilogram spring installed and it's got a 700mm barrel and Sabre's B-car attached. But you should be able to get similar results with your own blasters at home, assuming they shoot the same velocity as this. Now, because I'm sure some of you are going to ask how the darts perform at lower FPS, I'm also going to do the range test with the Dart Zone Max Solo, which shoots around 100 FPS. This was sent to me thanks to Break Ice in Taiwan, who resell some of the Dart Zone products for us in the Asia Pacific region. Find a link to Break Ice down below, and I also believe Out of Darts actually have the T-Darts now, so I'll put that link down below as well. Oh, and by the way, I believe there's some kind of male appendage joke that could be made here. I'll let you guys do that in the comments down below. I've got 3 different tests to run these through in a head-to-head comparison. First up will be a chrono test. How much slower will the heavier ones leave the muzzle? Secondly, a maximum range test. Which one will go the furthest? Third and finally, a 30 meter or 100 feet accuracy comparison. Which one will be the most accurate? With all that explained, let's get started with the chrono test. Alright, first up for the chrono test, the standard 1 gram blue or purple, whatever color you want to call that. These should be shooting the fastest of the two, probably around 300 FPS. 308, 306, 308, 309, 306, 313, 311, 306, 306, 300, 303, 308, 308, 303, 300, and that's all 15 shots. Let's swap to the heavies, which are a nice red color, easier to see on the camera, which you'll notice when we get to the accuracy test. I'm going to guess about 260, but let's find out. 303, what the fuck? 317. 307, 305, 304, 303, 303, 318, 307, 316, 297 there, we have a lower shot, 310, 307, 300, 301, and that's all 15. That is much higher than I thought from the heavy darts. Hey, Future Brad here. As soon as I got home, I just had to be sure the heavies were indeed heavier. And yes, they do in fact weigh 1.3 grams each. I did find the red foam feels a little firmer than the purple though, so that could explain why they didn't lose any velocity. But now back to the chrono results. So fired out of the Sabre Apex Prime, both dart types had the same exact average velocity of 306 feet per second. And as mentioned, that's despite the red ones being heavier. The heavies did have a higher high and a lower low, making their standard deviation a little more inconsistent, but 6 is still pretty good for a Nerf dart. Now, to double check whether this was a one-off occurrence with my particular blaster config, I also did a quick chrono test with the Dart Zone Max Solo, which is stock straight out of the box. Alright, from the Dart Zone Max Solo, doing the lighter ones first. Let's see how it does. 107, 105, 91, 107. And the last standard 1 grammer, 90. Now, we should see a drop in FPS going to the heavier ones. 112, okay. It's actually gone up. 113. 112. That doesn't actually make sense. 96. 113.
Fired out of the low FPS Dart Zone Max Solo, the heavier red ones actually went 9 FPS faster on average and had a slightly lower standard deviation. There is definitely something going on with the heavier darts having a higher quality foam or something. Gaining FPS is not a result I was expecting. With that, I'll now move on to the maximum range test, where unfortunately I'll be shooting into a 30 km/h headwind. So the ranges will be a little shorter today, but we'll still be able to find out which one of the two goes further.
Okay guys, for the range test today, I've got 5 of each dart in here alternating. There is still quite a bit of wind, so that might reduce the range a tiny bit compared to what it was last time. I'll stand against this fence and shoot back down the road, and then use this laser rangefinder to tell me the ranges of the darts. I'll fire the Sabre Apex Prime first, then the Dart Zone Solo, and then I'll go find all the darts. There's all 10 shots. Now the Dart Zone Solo, I'll skip through this a little bit because it's going to take ages to load. All right, let's go find all the darts. Okay, we've got some standard blue ones here from the Solo. They made it 33 meters. One more blue one from the Solo, which made it 39. Now we have the heavy one, the first heavy one from the Solo, 41. 2 more from the Solo, 43. Another red one from the Solo over here, 45. Now we have one more from the Solo, which didn't go quite as far as those ones, 38. But definitely the heavier ones went further with the Solo. Now to find the ones from the Sabre Apex Prime. All right, we've got all the blue ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, standing in the middle of that. Got an average of 64 meters in this kind of wind. We've got a heavy, 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 heavy. In the middle of these, they went 72 meters. So they didn't go quite as far as the other day because of that headwind we're shooting into, but the heavy ones went further than the lighter ones.
With the range test completed, now it's time for the 30 meter or 100 foot accuracy test.
Okay guys, for the accuracy test, as usual, I'll be aiming at this white skull here, which at 300 FPS tends to have the darts land around the center of the target by the time they reach 100 feet. I don't know if you can hear in the microphone of the camera, but we have about a 30 km/h wind today. So just keep that in mind with the results here. I think it's more representative of what you might find outside in the real world when you're actually playing a game of Nerf. Not everyone does all their tests in their basement. Let's start off with the purple 1 gram darts. A lovely shot, pretty close to the bullseye there. Same with that. You'll notice with these darts, they're tack drivers. Pretty much hitting the same exact spot every time. Even with this wind. Which makes me curious what the heavier ones will do. The heavier ones are what I used over in Singapore. I did find them to be a little better subjectively. But now we have the actual final version, which have firmer foam to them than the pre-production ones I tested over there. It's quite incredible how far we've come with these darts compared to things like Worker that we've been using for years. I think there's definitely something to the 37mm length they've gone with. Makes them a little more aerodynamic. Let's try the heavy ones now, which I'm really excited to see how these do. Whether they can get any tighter than that A3 grouping we're getting already with the 1 grammers. Slightly above the ball there. These are probably going to go a little bit higher up on the target due to that higher FPS, which makes no physical sense since they're heavier. Maybe they have better quality foam or something. Beautiful shot there. Little high and to the left, that one. Same with that. Centered, but a little higher. Same with that. Beautiful. Could really split arrows with these. That was a little lower to the left, that one there. Same spot as all the others. It's certainly looking good for the heavy ones. They're at least not worse. How many shots do I have left? Oh, just the one. Lovely. That's all 15 of the heavy ones. I couldn't tell you just from eye which one's better. They might actually be the same. But if they're at least equal, the red ones are shooting higher FPS even in the Dart Zone Solo. So I think they might be of a higher quality foam or something.
The first darts I fired were the 1 gram standard purple darts, and at a distance of 30 meters, they shot an incredible grouping 20 centimeters tall and 12 centimeters wide. That's around 7.8 by 4.7 inches or smaller than an A5 sheet of paper. That alone is the most accurate dart I've ever shot. If that wasn't impressive enough though, in red, the heavier 1.3 gram darts shot a spread about the same height, but slightly narrower at around 9 centimeters wide. However, if I center the spreads over the top of each other, you'll see that's purely due to one low left outlier. The main cluster of heavies actually fits within about an 11 centimeter by 9 centimeter spread, or 4.3 by 3.5 inches. Take your A5 sheet of paper, fold it in half, because this would fit within an A6. All of that with a 30 km/h wind. Without a doubt, an absolutely incredible result. Sorry to say it, 1 gram T-Darts, but your reign was a short one of only a few weeks. Sabre Tournament Dart Heavies, now that I have them in hand, are definitely the new king of Nerf accuracy. And from my other tests today, compared to the 1 gram version, the heavies don't seem to have any real downside. They're leaving the muzzle at the same velocity, if not better, depending on which blaster you're using, and they're traveling further in maximum range. Between the two, it's an absolute no-brainer which one to pick, but perhaps sometime in the future, Sabre will update the 1 gram version to have firmer foam like the red ones. In that eventuality, I think at closer ranges, the shorter time to target of a faster dart might be beneficial. So as it stands at the moment, I'd recommend the red heavy ones for all applications, and Out of Darts just received their shipment of the heavies. You can find that among the links down below. That's all I have for you today. Like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. Here's 2 other videos you might enjoy, and as always, thank you very much for watching. See ya!